Okay. नमस्कार गीता जी, कैसी हैं आप?
बिल्कुल ठीक।
तो ये जो सीरीज है जिसका नाम हमने इटर्नल फ्लेम ऑफ इंस्पिरेशन रखा था, इंस्पायर्ड बाय स्वामी विवेकानंद, वी आर रीडिंग राज योगा, एंड दैट is such a source of joy to relate to Swamiji's words and get a sense of clarity. Layer by layer, he unveils some wonderful
Beautiful.
method. So,
Yeah,
Gita ji,
beautiful
your
aspects of yoga also. That's what
come
he
again?
started with.
Yeah, yeah. So
So
we
I'll
are.
continue.
Yes, please.
Various races differ in their processes. Just as in the same society, same individuals want to control external nature and other want to control internal nature. So, among races, some want to control the external nature and some the internal. Some say that by controlling internal nature, we control everything. Some that by controlling external nature, we control everything. Carried to the extreme, both are right because there is neither internal nor external. It is a fictitious limitation that never exists. Both are destined to meet at the some point, same point. The externalist and the internalist, when both reach the extreme of their knowledge. Just as the physician, when he pushes his knowledge to its limit, finds it melting away into metaphysics, so the metaphysician will find that what he calls mind and matter are but apparent distinctions which will have to vanish forever.
Mind and matter are but apparent distinctions which will have to vanish forever. It's difficult to understand, Gita ji. What do you make out of this line?
Mind over matter, normally that's what they say. It is your mind over matter. It's I am still taking it from where he left in our last session,
Mm-hmm.
and how we can train our mind to overcome the things, and it'll come to that point. That's what I got from this.
So I'll recollect a line from a bhajan that you might have heard is जड़ चेतन में व्याप्त हो रहे, नहीं,
Wow.
अखिल विश्व में व्याप्त हो रहे, जड़ चेतन में एक
Wow.
समान. So this is coming from the speech of Guru. That's the realized being, and that is why they say Jad and Chetan, uh, the same is reflected or manifesting in both. So inert or the consciousness, both.
The internal and external. That's what you're trying to
Partly yes,
address. Yeah.
but no. What he said, mind and matter. So let's say mind is suggesting consciousness, and matter is what is visible, which is
Outside.
palpable, your chair or whatever, whatever is met.
Yeah.
So, but how the same is permeating in everything.
Prevailing in internal and
That's what I gather from it.
beautiful.
So my turn to read.
Yes.
To end and aim for all science is to find a unit, that one out of which all this manifold is being manufactured, that one existing as many. Raj Yoga proposes to start from the internal world, to study internal nature, and through that control the whole, both internal and external. It is a very old attempt. India has been its special stronghold. But it was also attempted by other nations. In Western countries, it is thought to be mysticism.
Hmm.
People who wanted to practice it were either burned or killed as witches or sorcerers. And in India, for various reasons, it fell into the hands of persons who destroyed 90% of the knowledge. And of that portion which remained, tried to make a great secret. In modern times, many so called teachers have arisen worse than those of India because the latter knew something, while those modern exponents
Hmm.
do not. Please continue.
I'll just continue the next one. Anything that is secret or mysterious in these systems of yoga should be at once rejected. The best guide in life is strength. In religion, as in everything else, discard everything that weakens you. Have nothing to do with it. All mystery mongering weakens the human brain. Through it, this science of yoga has been well nigh destroyed, but it is really one of the grandest of sciences. From the time that it was discovered more than 4,000 years ago, it was perfectly delineated and formulated and preached in India. And it is a striking fact that the more modern the commentator, the greater the mistakes he makes. That's amazing. The more ancient the writer on it, the more rational he is. Makes sense. Thus, it fell into the hands of a few persons who made it a secret instead of letting the full blaze of daylight and reason fall upon it. And they did so that they might have the powers to themselves.
Wow, very very subtle way of talking about group of people who exploit a part of the knowledge that they gain. But I also want to underline the lines you just read, where he says the best guide in life is strength.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and in religion, as in everything else, discard everything that weakens you. Have nothing to do with it.
Oh,
So
very, very strong lines,
very
and very
inspiring,
valid,
practical also.
very practical,
Practical also.
very
And
practical.
why should you continue to consume something which is weakening your faculty of
Absolutely.
mind is one side, or be in the company where you feel down and down and down and you feel like you're nobody, you can do
That too.
nothing. So both ways, stay away from that which weakens you. So I
Beautiful.
will continue towards strength by reading Raj Yoga.
In the first,
Anything that is secret,
in the first place, there is no mystery.
where did I read? Okay, yeah. In the first place, there is no mystery in what I preach. What little I know, I'll tell you. So far as I can reason it out, I will do that. But what I do not know, I'll simply tell you that it is what the book says. It is wrong to blindly believe. You must exercise your own reason and judgment. You must practice and see whether things happen or not, just as you would take up any other science of a material nature. Exactly in the same manner, you should take up this science for study. There's neither mystery nor danger in it. So far as it is true, it ought to be preached in the public interest streets, in the broad daylight. Any attempt to mystify these things is productive of great danger.
Hmm. Beautiful.
I think he follows the scientific approach in referring to the spiritual knowledge. And
Yeah, which is what makes it interesting, at least the way I'm learning it and reading it. That art of reasoning and trying it yourself is the biggest thing for me
absolutely,
before just blindly following.
yeah, please continue.
Before proceeding further, I'll state to you a little of Sankhya philosophy, on which the whole of Raj Yoga is based. According to this philosophy, perception comes through instruments. The eyes carry it to the organs to the mind to the determinative faculty. From this, the Purush, the soul, receives it and gives the order back, as it were, and so on through all these stages. In this way, sensations are received. Beautiful. With the exception of the Purush, all of these material, but the mind is of much finer materials than the external instruments. That material of which the mind is composed becomes grosser and becomes what is called the tanma-
Tanmatras.
tanmatras. It becomes still grosser and forms the external material. That is the psychology of Sankhya. So that between the intellect and the grosser matter outside, there is only a difference in degree. The Purush is the only thing which is immaterial. Mind is an instrument in the hands of soul, as it were, through which the soul catches external objects. This mind is consistently changing and vacillating, and it can either attach itself to several organs or the one or to none. For instance, if I hear the clock with a great attention, I will not perhaps see anything, although my eyes may be open, showing that the mind is not attached to seeing organ, although it was to the hearing organ. And the mind, in the same way, can be attached to all the organs simultaneously. This mind has the reflexive power of looking back into its own depths. This reflexive power is what the yogi wants to attain. By concentrating the powers of mind and turning them inward, he seeks to know what is happening inside. There is in this no question of mere belief. It is the analysis of certain philosopher. Modern psychologists tell you that the eyes are not the organs of vision, but that the organs are in the nerve center in the brain, and so with all senses. And they also tell you that these centers are formed of the same material as the brain itself. So the Sankhya will also tell you, but one is the statement of a physical side and the other on the psychological side. Yet both are the same. Beyond this, we have to demonstrate.
Beyond this, we have to
Hmm.
demonstrate, and in order to demonstrate, you have to practice.
That
And in order to practice, you should be willing to take that trouble. And how to do it was taught by Swami Vivekananda at several places, and Raj Yoga happens to be one. So I'll continue. We are actually reading the first chapter of Raj Yoga, and this is the third part that we are reading in this session. And anything else you want to add, Geeta ji?
no, this is as I'm reading it, I am so amazed at this step by step the way he's going, telling us about the Sankhya, how the eyes, then they send the message further. It is that's what I was reading and I was
Yeah,
trying to
and
grasp
I'm
while
also
reading.
reminded the way he mentioned about when the mind is attached to one particular organ. So it does happen that if you are listening to something yeah,
Yes.
and your eyes are open, still you stop seeing what is happening in
Yeah.
front of you because you are so much engrossed in the music or whatever it is, or
Or the
sometimes you
clock ticking
get
he's talking about.
yeah, and sometimes you get lost in seeing something, and
Hmm.
then if somebody calls you, you don't listen to that. So then,
True, very true.
so I'll continue. The yogi proposes to himself to attain to that fine state of perception in which he can perceive all these things. There must be mental perception of all the different states. We shall perceive how the sensation is traveling and how the mind is receiving it, how it is going to be determinative faculty, and how this gives it to the Purusha. At, as each science requires certain preparations, as each science has its own method, until we follow that method, we can never understand that science.
Hmm.
So is Raj Yoga. So he's in a roundabout way bringing where I was saying, I mean, without
Yes,
believing and doing, you won't get it. So he nudged it. He brought it in a more subtle manner to this point.
it's all about practice,
Yes.
reason practice. I'll go further.
Yeah.
Certain regulations as to food are necessary. We must use that food which brings the purest mind. If you go into the Mengiri, you will find this demonstrated at once. You see the elephants, huge animals, but calm and gentle. And if you go towards the cages of the lions and the tigers, you'll find them restless, showing how much difference has been produced by the food. All the forces that are working in this body have been produced out of food. We see that every day. If you begin to fast, first your body will get weak, then the physical force will suffer. Then, after a few days, the mental force will suffer also. First, memory will fail. Then comes a point when you are not able to think, much less to pursue any course of reasoning. We have therefore to take care of what sort of food we eat at the beginning and what we have got strength enough. When our practice is well advanced, we need not to be so careful in this respect. While the plant is growing, it must be hedged around, lest it will be injured. But when it becomes a tree, the hedges are taken away. It is strong enough to withstand all assaults.
Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful. I truly believe in this, though. I mean, on the very gross stand, the food does make a difference. It's a, we are what we eat. They do say that. Yeah, apart from we are what we think.
Absolutely.
But
Um, so not just food, actually, whatever we take in through any of the sense, as the ahar word suggests,
absolutely.
um, consuming not just through mouth but
Mm,
whichever senses. So touch and smell. Sometimes the smell also makes you
yeah,
feel in a different way. That's why there is billions of dollars of industry for fragrance. So
that too.
yeah.
We are guilty of that too.
Mhm. So this is almost we are the concluding part the of the Raj Yoga's first chapter, and I'll read the last paragraph. A yogi must avoid the two extremes of luxury and austerity. He must not fast or torture his flesh. He who does so, says the Gita, cannot be a yogi. He who keeps awake, he who sleeps much, he who works too much, he who does no work, none of these can be yogis.
Very nice.
So eat
Balance.
in moderation, sleep in moderation, and then be a yogi. So this was the way Raj Yoga's first chapter is concluded, and we conclude this session, Geeta ji. But I would like you to sing something today. Any devotional number that comes to your mind, maybe two lines at least.
ये गर्व भरा मस्तक मेरा प्रभु चरण धूल तक झुकने दे अहंकार विकार भरे मन को निज नाम की माला जपने दे ये गर्व भरा मस्तक मेरा.
बहुत सुंदर, बहुत धन्यवाद है. So this was once again the theme is